Hey guys and dolls, this is Steve from the Acteria here again, talking to you about KD Conservatory, and I'm going to tell you my review of their very first class or workshop for Introduction to Acting. So stay tuned, and we'll get right after it. Okay, first and foremost, this conservatory is located in Dallas. They're a small conservatory dedicated towards teaching actors for the stage and for film. In a variety of different ways. They typically have a full range of programs, but I just went for their Intro to Acting workshop, what they call it. It cost me about $450. I met once a week, and the class was a small, from anywhere from 6 at the very beginning to about 4 is what we finished out with. Again, with the whole, it's technically a workshop thing because you don't meet every day. But it is an 8-week program, and it was really, really great. Sometimes if too many of the people can't show up, they'll extend the class out and shift the class 1 week later, and that was pretty great. Teacher's name was Sarah for the Intro to Acting. Sarah is a 20-year veteran of the craft. She was actively doing a show in my very first class called Babette's Feast. It was really fantastic. Got a chance to go see that on the pre-opening night. Turned out to be a really, really great time. But what they started doing with the very, very start of the class was they introduced us to first they actually asked us why we were interested, what inspires us about acting. And then she went into talking about the very, very beginning, the foundation of acting as, what is acting? And you know what? For the life of me, I can't remember the response. You know what? I gotta go ask Sarah. I'm still in contact with her. She's great. She's super friendly. I do want to mention though that the class started very structured, and we started talking about breaking down a scene. And what we first got was what I'd call a content-less scene. Basically, it's just the dialogue for a scene, and me and my partner got to invent what the scene was about, where we were whenever we started the scene, where we ended up in the middle of the scene, what our feelings were, and then we got to respond to each other. If somebody like got angry at me, and it didn't seem like that should be the place where you get angry, I would react in kind. It was a pretty great exercise. And that was what on our, I believe our very first day we got those contentless scenes, and it was a pretty fantastic experience to get to know, building that array of a scene. I do want to mention though that our class went from 6 down to 4, but it was pretty awesome because I felt like personally I got a very one-on-one experience. The class moved away from this kind of structured, rigid kind of flow because people would show up and people wouldn't show up, and I think you'll notice that in this industry is that a lot of people will have varying degrees of commitment, and that's perfectly okay. Everybody has lives, but what that meant for me is I showed up every week, and that meant that I had, by the end of it, had 3 different plays that I was working on, 3 different scenes that I was working on, which was really great for me because it expanded my horizons a little bit. And it was really, really fantastic to find all of this diversity within with just one hobby. And I really, really enjoyed it. I got to play the owner of a dog, and she talked back to me, Sylvie, and I was Greg, and it was a really fantastic, very heartwarming. I think that was my favorite scenes that I've done so far. And but Sarah, more specifically about her classes tend to be more focused on that individual experience, and I'll get into talking about scene study and what that really meant for me. But we talked about different memorization techniques. Any kind of questions I brought to the class for the week were really, really prioritized. I would email her, and she would build a session to help us, build a portion of the session to help us understand questions that we may have, or unpack those questions that we may have about our scene, about our homework, about the process of acting. It was quite fantastic. Sarah is a highly personalized teacher, and I really had a great time. I would recommend it to everybody. I know that people can say that the price can be a little bit high, but I found that I got every inch of value out of my $450. They allowed me to pay weekly until the whole total was paid off. I had to put up an upfront deposit, but it was really fantastic, and it was located down in Dallas off of I-35 Medical District. So if you're down by that area, you should check them out. Anyway, I wanted to keep this short and sweet. Love you guys, Activity Nation. Keep going after it. And this has been my review of KD Conservatory's acting, intro to acting.